can be a goal. Can't this be? Yes. I am trying, it's not me individually trying. If each one of us are trying, let me see how best can this, my action, how best my action can serve the interest of this 40 people, 50 people. A few more have not turned up today, but if whoever comes in, and lot more can come in. Just try to see how many people I can cater to. The common interest, it's not yourself. So when you put yourself in a bracket of 50 people, what happens to your ego? Isn't it liquidated? Isn't that much less concentration of yourself vis-a-vis the rest? But you exclude yourself from the totality and you only think of yourself, I and my interest alone. That's total magnification of ego. Ego is nothing but exaggerated glorification of oneself. That is ego. EGO is what? You are unnecessarily glorifying yourself all the time, whether it could be your success or it could be your problems. You think you are the only one having problems in life? Why only thinking all the time of yourself? That is also ego. Where is the bigger ego? Everybody, you need everybody to come and give solace to you, comfort you, sympathize with you. That is also ego. So when you work for a higher cause, the loftier the cause, greater the inspiration, greater the motivation, and the highest you can work for is self-realization. I want to realize myself. I want to know who I am. A message which came across to most of you all this morning. आपको आया जी? नहीं आया? विजय, take his number. आप आपका नंबर दीजिए विजय को. आपको मैसेज नहीं आया आज? फोन देखा आपने सवेरे से? व्हाट्सएप कुछ आया नहीं. Just check his number is in the group or not. Sudarshan ji, Mandarcha, can you read for us, sir?
If I am what I have and what I have is lost, then who am I?
Three पढ़ेंगे.
If I am what I have
If I am what I have
and what I have is lost,
and what I have is lost,
then who am I?
then who am I? Oh, Atman, where are Atman Ningo? Beautiful saying. If there is zero, it's a very sad state. Yes, sir. Ninga padinga adu? Read that. Irka.
If I am what I have,
Slowly, slowly. You need to pause at the right place. If
I am what I have
if I am what I have
and what I have is lost,
and what I have is lost,
then who am I?
what is left of me then? Do I have any identity other than what I have? Or I have got a huge empire, I have got large investments, I have got a lovely family, I have got this, I have got that, I have acquired this, I have got name, I have got recognition, I have got all. This is me. You think this is you are, but all what you have is lost, is taken away from you. Who are you? Do you have any entity, do you have any existence other than what you have created? That is being spiritual, to stand by yourself without anything. Hero to zero. You think, in fact, other day I was mentioning of this in the talk. Are you contented? And everybody is saying, a few of them said contented. Contentment is measured with it and without it as well. All what you have is lost. And who am I? Are you still the same in spite of all that you have is gone? That's an exalted state, an exalted state of spiritual enlightenment where you lost something and you don't miss it. You are complete without it. That dependency on it, it makes you up. Yeah, virtues speak for itself. That starts expressing that richness, that maturity comes out. So that contentment, the mind becomes peaceful, the mind becomes contented, the mind loses that nature of rajas or agitation when you work for a higher cause. Now what is the common reason, what is the reason why you are getting agitated is your own selfishness in your pursuits. The non-yajna spirit you function, it is going to cause you enormous agony and pain. That's all he's saying. A constant foe. Constant means it is like a shadow, full of desires. So the accent is ensure that your desires don't take control over your personality. You live a life of deserving, not desiring. Just deserve. And how do you deserve? Just do your karma. Just do your part. How to do your part? For what are you doing your part? For the interest of others. You are not doing anything for yourself. Siddharaman Garu, can I refer to our conversation this morning? Can I refer to the conversation we had this morning? Can I? He called me this morning and he said there is a request to be a part of a particular board. Apex committee is there, a very reputable organization. There is a place available and somebody was requesting him to be a part of that committee. He said, I am not available, but I will be happy to recommend someone, and he asking me whether he recommend my name. And then he said the intention was that it is a very reputable body and perhaps it could help to make inroads how this knowledge could be taught some point to them. I just felt uncomfortable, not to question or doubt his intention, but I said, sir, I wouldn't want to go to that board with the intention that I would like to recommend what I am teaching somehow should get to them. If I go there, I will go there purely to serve them, but not with an intention that perhaps somehow we could reach a large bracket. Not that even his intention was wrong, but just genuine intention. So I don't want to mention name for what obvious reasons. I would do things for the sake of doing it. I am happy to go and address them if they invite me, but I wouldn't want to go there with the intention of trying to get invited. I said, no sir, I wouldn't. Thank you very much for your thought and gesture. I said, I will not accept that thing. Chapana, I feel uncomfortable with the thought to use it for something else. I am encashing that. Just do an action for the sake of action. Such actions are selfless, not unselfish, are selfless actions. But you do something with an intention. Many a time the intentions are selfish and self-centered. You will have challenges in life. You will have struggle.
You can have purpose, but not interest.
No, intention also is, it can be selfish, intention can be unselfish as well. But when the intention is pure, it becomes an ideal. So the entire effort is to change the nature of your intention here.
Even to serve somebody also can be sometimes selfish.
Why? How can it become selfish?
In order to gain fame.
Ah.
It is not the intention.
No, then in fact it is not service. You are only using it as a self-propaganda. You want to get some publicity or name or recognition out of your doing.
But on the face of it, they try to make somebody feel that they are trying to serve. That is what
It's a camouflage. What you are camouflaging is your intention to gain recognition.
the self-realization comes later.
Much later.
That's all.
So as we learned in Bhajagovindam, ensure that your desire doesn't become an obsession. Ensure that your desires don't take control over your personality and become obsession. And it becomes an obsession, it becomes lust. Lust is craving, the thirst, the obsession for anything.
Does it also say that it not become an obsession? Does it also mean that it can be there, desires can be there, but you don't let it become an obsession?
So desires can be there, where will it go? It is very much there with you.
Don't make it an obsession.
This Sattva Rajas Tamas.
But say desire is not, is okay.
Desire is, you have it, you can't help it.
Okay, but let it not.
Ensure it doesn't metamorphose into a craving or an obsession or greed or lust or anger or envy or hatred or jealousy or fear or obsession. All these are manifestations, they are metamorphosis of the innocuous latent desire. The desire is latent, but you go and fan it, it becomes all this. What are we doing? All the time we are fanning our desires and it becomes krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, bhaya. All these things come up. Why? Because you are all the time feeding the desires. If you can find a way to bypass the desires, just bypass. ரொம்ப கஷ்டம் சார் அது.
We are discussing it.
Yeah, correct. Sakshi.
Practice it. We are discussing
Yeah,
it.
it is very much. So just say, if you can say no to it. You know, what is it that says wanting? It is the mind that wants it. Okay, the mind that craves it. What is it that should say no to it? I just turned my head to get the answer. Pradama Shishya answered. Pradama Shishya, the recording పంపించాను కదా ఇక్కడ ఇవ్వండి. మార్నింగ్ పంపించాను మీకు రికార్డింగ్ ఒకటి. Clarification to something we discussed yesterday. Food for thought for some of you all. I don't know how many will follow it. But something we discussed yesterday, she said, Guruji, can you please record and send me? Because the Pradama Shishya had to oblige. Don't take that, you keep asking me, please record and send me, I am not going to send. Huh? This is a special privilege of Pradama Shishya. A PS. Kedivandi. No, I am just trying to give you an idea. What we so loosely use the mind and intellect we use. There was one, I was taking an online class other day, yesterday morning, and then she happened to be in the center in the afternoon and I was just sharing the thing. So this is what I recorded and sent her without copying. The
physical body houses the two organs. One is the organs of perception and the other is the organs of action. The organs of perception job is to receive the stimuli through the sense organs, and the organs of action respond to the perceptions received once processed within. Now, how does a perception get registered? The perception gets registered only when each perception gets triggered with its respective sense centers. Now, the organs of perception have their sense centers located in the mind, vis-a-vis the organs of action have their sense centers located in the intellect. Without the participation of the sense centers, the perception is incomplete, and without the participation of the organs of or the sense centers for the organs of action, the action is imperfect. I repeat, with reference to the organs of perception, the perception is incomplete. And without the participation of the sense centers with the organs of action, the action is imperfect. Now let me explain. The organs of perception, when you seem to be perceiving the world, for example, right now when you are listening to this recording, it's possible that your mind has drawn away, has got distracted with something else, as a result of which, even though the sound is quite audible, it falls on your eardrums, you are hearing what I'm saying, but you don't pay attention, nor do you register what is said, because your mind has not backed the action. So the perception has not reached the sense center because the mind is not in the present. Now this applies to all perceptions, whether be it sight, smell, sound, etc. Now coming to the organs of action, the sense centers for organs of action are located in the intellect. Now when the intellect doesn't back an action, it starts reflecting in the thoughts, the words and the deeds. We are not conscious of our actions, we don't know what thoughts we entertain, we are not conscious, we are responsible for the deeds and the words we speak. We find ourselves repenting at times, we feel guilty that we have not performed the right action. Why is it? Because the intellect has not backed the action. And that's because the sense centers, which are responsible to participate in that respective responses through the organs of action, have not participated. Example, while I'm speaking to you, speech is an organ of action. And if I need to make sense to you, I need to allow the sense center in the intellect to back this explanation, without which what would happen is I wouldn't make any rational sense to you. So just to conclude, the organs of perception have their respective sense centers located in the mind, and the organs of action have their respective sense centers located in the intellect. So with the participation of the mind and intellect, your action becomes perfect. Are you?
I don't know what you understood. I just wanted to give you an insight, just 4 minutes. Completely out of context I brought it. A simple reason, don't hold the concept of mind and intellect very lightly. It is very, very deep. It is very intricate. In fact, you have taken even the concept of desire so lightly. Your whole life is consumed by it, but you don't understand the seriousness of what these desires do to us. So when we talk of conquering the desire, we are talking of the role of the intellect coming here, which is, it is the intellect that conceives a goal. It is the intellect that pitches up a spirit of yajna. And when the intellect is weak, it is the mind, the manas, that takes over with the desires, and the desires overwhelm your personality. And that happens, as he says, it engulfs your wisdom. Then you lost it. Then you fall a prey to the modifications of desires. Okay. Another few verses we will actually finish the text, because it is concluding. Okay. Tasmat tvamindriyan yadau niyamya bharatarshapha papmanam prajahihyenam jnana vijnana nashanam. Oh, sorry. Oh, yes, sorry. Indriyani mano buddhihi asyadhisthana muchyate etair vimohayatyeshaha Jnanamavritya dehinam indriyani mano buddhihi asyadhisthanamuchyate etair vimohayatyeshaha jnanamavritya dehinam. Now the last few verses he is actually giving us the way to overcome the impediments, the desires. Now here he says the senses, mind and the intellect are said to be its seat. Whose seat? Desires, the seat of desires. Where do you find the desires? Senses, mind, intellect. Through these it deludes the embodied by veiling his wisdom. यहाँ से आता है, यहाँ छुपा हुआ है. Where do you want to look at the desires? 3 locations: senses, mind, intellect. So how does the desires work at the physical level? At the physical level, the senses, the desires function through the senses. And what is the job of the senses? To go towards its respective sense objects. Each sense organ, there is a push from within, isn't it? இல்லையாம்மா அந்த மாதிரி பார்க்குறீங்க இருக்கு இல்லைங்களா? The senses are being pushed from inside out to go into the world to enjoy the sense objects. There is a push from within, and the sad part is there is a pull from outside also, which is the attraction. The sense objects are very, very tempting, very attractive. Now how many of us can claim to have not fallen a prey to this push and pull of the senses? You are including everybody into it, huh? Looks like. Yes sir? Mauname samadham, correct. So the senses are pushing you out into the world to enjoy the sense objects. Sense objects are drawing you into it. In fact, the famous text Panchadashi by the great Vidyaranya, I have mentioned it earlier before, how he talks of each sense organ is enough to destroy you. That's how the senses are very powerful. He takes 5 animals to describe and depict how each animal has got a weakness for that particular sense organ, and it goes about destroying itself. You notice that when you put on light in the evening or in any deserted area, you put on a light, all these moths and insects and bugs are attracted, and they are attracted by the light. They get too close to the light of the heat and they get burnt, they get killed themselves. They have weakness for sight. A fish has got a weakness for tongue. Clear? How do they catch the fish? It gets caught in the bait, and they put the fish all the time doing that, isn't it? It gets caught. It's got a weakness for, correct sir? Your aquarium also same, huh? Your fish also same or different? మీ ఇంట్లో అక్వేరియం ఉందా? చిన్న మీ వెనకాల ఉంది సార్, అక్కడ మా ఇంట్లో ఉంది, అందుకు అడుగుతున్నాను. So what are other sense organ left? The deer has got a weakness for sound, and these hunters, they actually play drums in the jungles to draw these deers which are very difficult to catch. So they get closer to the sound, they are attracted to the sound, they come closer, and then they are in the shooting range and they get shot. Deer has got weakness for ears. Certain bees have got weakness for smell. They go deep into the flowers to draw the honey, but there are certain carnivorous flowers which kill them, destroy them. So weakness for honey, they are tempted, they are drawn to go into the deep in the bowels of the flower, they get killed. An elephant has got a weakness for skin. They are caught in their season of mast, which is the mating season. So they dig huge pits and they camouflage it, and they are not conscious where they are going in that mood or that urge which is called mast, and they get caught in that pits. So 5 animals, weakness for one particular sense organ, it causes their own downfall, destruction. Now a human being has got a weakness for what chance you have? Weakness for all, strength not to control any. Weakness is there, but do you have strength to control any of them? Enge? But manifest avula adu, unmanifest la irukadu.
We are in the process.
Process da.
But we have the ability to.
We do have the ability to realize self also. But the fact is, you got to. Yes, sir?
We should not doubt ourselves.
Absolutely, no, we are not doubting. I am just being factual. That there is this danger, how the desires will draw you to fall a prey to the sensual temptations. And you know, this is the reason why Rama in Ramayana hid behind a tree and shot Vali. Theriyuma? How many of you know the rationale behind, because Rama is heavily criticized for this? Because how can Rama, being a Kshatriya, a warrior, violate the laws of warfare, which is to interfere in a warfare when two fellows are fighting, that too hiding behind a tree and shoot? That is the law of warfare today. When you least expect it, somebody will bomb you and go off. What is that? Drone bombing. Some fellow is sitting in his country and he'll send a drone, he'll bomb you and go off. Half the place is destroyed. That is today's law of warfare, not those days. And for caliber of Rama to do that is heavily criticized. Raghukula Rama, how can you do that? You are a great man, man. You are a prince, such an exalted man. How could you do such a wrong thing? You know, Vali is doing wrong thing. So Rama also can do wrong. Huh? Correct? Huh? See, Vali was a very sensuous person. Vali symbolizes sense object. He is a highly sensuous person, indulgent person. What Vali did is he usurped his brother's throne and also his wife, and kicked his brother out of his kingdom. And Sugriva is one who goes and surrenders to Rama and says, please help me. So the story goes that Rama said, I'll help you, but you go and challenge him, I'll shoot him from behind. The story goes, they went into a fight, this fellow is beaten black and blue and sent back home. He comes back with his broken bones and parts and said, man, what did you do? Why you didn't shoot? He said, both were looking alike. Two monkeys fighting, can you differentiate? I did not know whom to shoot.
Inside reason was different.
Adu paravailla, chumma story solra sir. Story mattum. Then he says, you identify yourself, you wear a garland or a mala and you go fight, and then the story goes, he shoots him. The reason is, as I have said, Vali is symbolizing sense object. You and Vali had a boon that whomever he faces in combat face to face, he will get half his strength. Theriyumdane? You know that story, very good. Now what is the meaning? If Rama had gone face to face, he would have lost half his strength, and Vali was a strong man. So there is no way you could have beaten Vali. Nobody could ever beat Vali because of the boon he had, and Rama knew this. Now again is a story, but we are drawing the philosophical message. What is the philosophical message? If you want to conquer sense object, you cannot conquer sense objects face to face with them. The moment you face a sense object, what will happen? Why will it overpower you?
Because it has got the boon.
What sense? No, Vali had a boon. Today's senses have got a boon. I have never heard anyone say this. This credit goes to you, Ji, the way you say it. Today's.
Other reasons are also there.
Yeah.
So one of the reasons,
Yeah.
even if you come straight also and if you take Rama to kill him.
Right.
For one. But the second thing is because he is not a Kshatriya and he is not a direct warrior, and being an animal nature, animals can always be killed from many positions.
Yeah.
That was the second reason he gives.
No, I am only trying to take.
Just to elaborate the.
True. But to come, the reference.
Then he says, I'm only animal. Then he says, well, if you are animal, you can be shot from anywhere. Animal does not require any power to come straight and only shoot it. Yeah. Even if Wali would have had the power of giving 50% only to him, still Rama could have easily killed him. That is separate.
Sir,
That was
I am only comparing the concept of.
So these are all the reasons he gives.
No, there is more to it, but only in any. I'm only in a reference. We only could take the points of comparison. So the point of comparison is you can't conquer sense object head on with it. You would lose half your power. Means because of the push and the pull and the weakness for it, you can't conquer it. It's like telling a fellow in a pub not to drink. Finished. That fellow has got a weakness for alcohol, and you take him to a pub and say, let's have a satsang. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam. Enga, publa. Enna sir idu. Why are you punishing me like this? He will tell. He can't, he has respect for you. At the same time, you Bhaja Govindam chant pandringa, and then alcohol is there next to him. Eppadi control panna mudiyum? Satsang with the bartender. In fact, the only time I ever gone to a bar was in a cricket club in Malaysia. It was in 2009 or 2010. An Amman cricket club right in the heart of the city. One of my students and me wanted to watch one of the World Cup final matches. And Ange, we didn't get subscription of that, what is this? Cricket. Then I told this student of mine, I said, find out where we can watch cricket. Then he said, found out everywhere, sir, but it is only happening in the cricket club there, and they are going to air it in the drinks room, where it's not a pub, it's like a board's room in a cricket club where alcohol is served. He said, do you have an objection? I have no objection. We can simply go and sit in one corner and you can watch the match. People carry on. People even not coming to drink there. We are all sports lovers. Then he and me were sitting in the room. Match was coming odd hour. Tamasik hour, sir. We were sitting there till 1 o'clock or something. Maybe each of us had 5-6 cokes, because every time the waiter came, he was staring at us like this. What are you fellows ordering coke? We had coke. Huh?
He could add the other one than the coke.
Coke and peanuts and watching match. See, when you don't have a desire for it, you can be in a pub and yet have no temptation. There is nothing great about it. I don't have desire. Many of you may not have a desire for it, so no big deal. But if you want to know whether you have a control and how strong is your ability to control, it is only measured in areas of where you have a desire. Wherever you have a desire, measure it there. You will know how much strength you have to control it. Not in areas where you don't have. I don't think big deal going into an area where liquor is served, not having. No big deal. I don't think anything great about it.
Areas of controversy.
What is controversy here? What do you mean controversy?
And what are the desire to drink, but still I go to the bar and don't get the bar is a controversy.
What do you mean controversy? I don't know whether you're using the right word. There is no question of willpower also here, because I don't have a desire. So I am not being challenged. You must understand that.
Now going into the controversial situations also, we control the desire.
When you are challenged, in areas where you are challenged and you measure your strength, that's where your strength is. Yeah. So you locate your desires at the physical level, at the senses, at the mind. How does desires function of the mind? Mind develops attachments and infatuation. Infatuation you can have to any relationship. A man to a woman, a woman to a man, a father, son, son, father. Attachment, attachment. Your mind develops an obsessive attachment to relationships. And I see people full of attachments. Attachments to their children, attachment to their spouse, only attachments, infatuation. The mind develops attachment at the mental level. I will give you references of some poems, Western literature. It is exhaustive literature, I can't get into them. You can explore it at your own leisure. There is this poem called Andrea del Sarto by Robert Browning. These are great thinkers who brought out that spirit of what a man's attachment to his wife does. He was so attached to his wife, and what it brought about is captured by Robert Browning and Andrea del Sarto. And there is another poem called Lidomia. Have you all heard about it? Never? What a pity. Lidomia by William Wordsworth. He talks of an attachment of a woman to her husband. And then the very famous poem Shorab and Rustum. Otherwise, what is he talking? Which literature is talking? You heard Shorab and Rustum? By Matthew Arnold. The famous poem of his attachment to the father and a son, and attachment son had a father. The result of which both of them kill each other. The end of the story is father kills the son kills the father. Extreme attachment between father and son. So what I am saying is, it is very rare you come across people who live a life of detachment in relationships. Extreme attachment, my son, my child, my wife, that I and my relationships is sickening. And then at the thought level, intellectual level, the desire expresses as a curiosity, yearning, and this goes on and on and on. So you want to conquer the desire located at the senses, attachment at the mind, curiosity is at the intellect. Let us quickly chant 41, I will go through it and we will come back next week. Tasmat tvamindriyanyadau niyamya bharatarshabha papmanam prajahihyenam jnana vijnana nashanam. Tasmat tvamindriyanyadau niyamya bharatarshabha papmanam prajahihyenam jnana vijnana nashanam. Tasmat means therefore. You use therefore only when you are concluding something, concluding the text here, the chapter. Therefore, O Bharata Rishabha, controlling first the senses, kill this sinful destroyer of knowledge and wisdom. Controlling first the senses. So you want to start your spiritual sadhana by ensuring discipline over the senses, sense control. So if you cannot control your senses, that is the beginning and end of spirituality. The first measuring tool is control senses. I ask you, Mrs. Murthy Garu, why is he saying control senses first? ఎందుకలా ముందు ఎందుకు సెన్సెస్ అని ముందు ఎందుకు అంటున్నారు? కరెక్ట్. ఏది నాశనం చేస్తుంది? డిజైర్స్. కరెక్ట్. బట్ ఇఫ్ యూ మీకు ప్రీవియస్ వర్స్లో ఏమన్నారు? దే ఆర్ 3 లొకేషన్స్ యూ కెన్ ఐడెంటిఫై డిజైర్స్: సెన్సెస్, మైండ్, ఇంటెలెక్ట్. ఆఫ్ ద 3, Why is he choosing senses control ఎందుకు అంటున్నారు?
మనం ఏదైనా తీసుకోవడానికి ఏదైనా ఒక అంటే మనకి ఏదైనా ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ తెలియడానికి దానికి ఏదైనా సెన్సెస్ మనని ద్వారానే మనం తెలుసుకోవాలి.
I give my feelings of respect and love to you. You reciprocate it with devotion and respect to me. It doesn't involve the senses. I feel your love. You feel the love between a mother and a child. Where are senses involved there? My heart feels the love. Senses in no ఏమంటున్నానంటే when there is emotional playing, senses don't play a part. Are you all with me? Correct kada? Where senses playing a part, Shiva, when I am giving my love to you?
It reflects through the senses. Even affection reflects to the senses.
అంటే ఏంటి నిష్కామంగా చేయాలంటారా?
What does it mean? How does it
రాగం ద్వేషం
Through the indriyas only it comes.
no, what is the
In
meaning?
anything you do, it ultimately results through the reflection through the indriyas only.
When we have
Anything you do it.
when we have got five senses, out of
Even if you say that I am in love or I am having respect to her, how does it get conveyed? Or how does she reciprocate? There has to be some medium.
out of these five senses, it is coming.
Yes.
He is only saying it is being expressed through the
Anything you
senses.
express it has to have a medium. The media has to be only through the senses.
All the five senses are anyone.
Anyone.
Anyone. Anyone.
But the reason why is he saying control the senses first? He doesn't say control the mind or control the intellect. Yes, sir. You have any reason? Yeah, please.
I just want to repeat the question to make sure that I understood the question properly. Why is sense referred as first? Because, in my opinion, it's a grosser level. Suppose you say that don't hold this chair. Though the desire may be there, I can refrain from holding it. It's easier to comply than in the mind nature. So it gradually is moving towards gross level to the subtler level.
Perfect. That's all I wanted to get from you all. Perfect, sir. The reason why he is saying senses is because it's the grossest and easiest to begin with. If you can't even control the senses, how can you control the mind? How can you control the intellectual weaknesses? Forget it. Perfect, sir. It's easier to start with the gross level. But he says, this senses kill this sinful destroyer. Sinful destroyer of knowledge and wisdom. Jnanam and Vijnanam. Jnanam is theoretical knowledge, Vijnanam is practical wisdom you have. Both of them are clouded by this desire. Watch out. All your knowledge and wisdom are of no use if your desire takes over you. I wrote a beautiful quote, I will mention it, we will take it up, perhaps it will come again to you all. Guilt is the price we pay willingly. Guilt is the price we pay willingly for doing what we are going to do anyway. समझ में आ रहा है माँ? Guilt is the price we pay willingly for doing what we are going to do anyway. Means you are anyway going to continue doing what you have been doing. We are happily and willingly paying the price of guilt. You don't bring about change. Okay, we'll come back to it again. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.